Today I am going to give an explanation for an motion drama comedy movie referred to as Big Brother. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Henry has again to Hong Kong after serving in the US Navy for years. Looking to start a profession as a teacher, he goes to his former school, Tak Chi Secondary. The main notes that he doesn't have right in teaching, however after being shown an advice letter from a higher official, he is given the job. Before Henry leaves, the foremost informs him that the type he is assigned to teach is one of the worst in the college. The morning of his first day at school, Henry walks into the class to see that it is an absolute chaos. Some college students are sleeping, others are singing, some are enjoying video games whilst a correct quantity of them are cooking ramen on a portable stove. Even after the teacher walks in, they definitely skip him and proceed what they are doing. Henry tries to get their attention, however they fail to no longer hear him. He gives up on making an attempt to divert their interest and goes round the study room commenting on the things they are already doing. The college students who are cooking are asked to eat less ramen due to the fact it contains too much sodium. Henry then tactics a man named Zuffa playing ukulele and helps him with it. Similarly, he warns a gamer kid against the radiation he might acquire from staring at the display screen all day. Geez, if that's the actual thing, then it is too late for all of us. Anyway, when the students in the end begin listening to him, he introduces himself and writes his identify and cell phone range on the board. The college students giggle because his handwriting is ugly. Then someone from the students calls him and asks him to depart the class, however Henry laughs it off. The kids skip him but again and proceed with the activities they had been doing earlier than his arrival. Having sufficient of it, Henry makes use of a rubber band and piece of chalk to set off the fireplace sprinkler in the room. The college students rapidly unfold out to keep themselves from getting wet. He subsequently gets their full interest and formally welcomes them to his class. Go away the hall. Welcome to my category after class. A team of 5 lowest-ranking college students gathers in the sports activities provide room to smoke. The chief of the group, Jack, has a crush on an A-grade pupil from every other class. The others locate him staring at her photo and make enjoyable of him. The group has a rivalry with the wealthy and spoiled kids from the school's basketball team. They enter the furnished room and mock Jack as normal due to the fact he is poor. Later, the basketball crew is practicing while Jack and the team watch them from nearby. Jack drops a bottle on the court, which reasons the crew chief to fall. The group laughs, however is given detention by using the school's English teacher, Miss Liang. To keep away from detention, they play a prank on her and run away when she is busy cleansing her desk. Elsewhere, the school's main is distressed because the education board is planning to deduct 20% of their annual funding. The human beings from the board come to take a tour of the college to investigate the place the dollars are being used. At the equal time, Henry enters the schoolroom, the place the college students have put up a bucket of water to prank him. However, his reflexes work quicker than the falling bucket and he is able to push it away. The college students who had been ready to make fun of him are left shocked. Henry asks for Jack's packet of cigarettes. Knowing that he smokes, Jack actually palms him the pack, curious as to what he is about to do. Then Henry asks Zuffa to name the 3 substances that are in a cigarette. When he answers the query correctly, he is allowed to skip classification for the day. Everyone begins to bang on their desks, demanding that they ought to get to skip classes. Well, when they stop, he fingers them all a cigarette and asks them to analyze it. Henry is aware of that if he truly mentions the impact it has on their health, they might not take it seriously. So instead he asks them about the consequences of smoking cigarettes and explains how tar types in their lungs for the first time. They pay interest to the teacher and are surely involved in learning. After the bell rings, he asks them to return the cigarettes and the students reluctantly agree. That day in the cafeteria, the captain of the basketball group makes one of Jack's friends Bruce trip on his leg. This gives upward thrust to an argument between the groups, which quickly turns into a fight. They throw food and tables at every other, destroying the place. Later, Henry is informed that 5 college students from his type have been briefly suspended for beginning the fight. Henry finds Jack struggle his opponent in the hallway and stops them. On being requested to calm down, Jack accuses the faculty of being unfair due to the fact the prosperous youngsters get no punishment that day after school. Henry goes via the documents of all 5 students to find out extra about them. The first guy is named Zuffa, the son of a Pakistani immigrant who is continually discriminated against due to the fact of his race. He is frequently accused of stealing through the policemen in his neighborhood. Zuffa's only want in his lifestyles is to become a musician. The 2D student is a female named Denon. She used to be a disappointment to her father ever when you consider that her beginning because he always wanted a son. Her entire life, Denon has been attempting to attain her father's respect. She even reduced her hair to a shorter size and played with motors to pretend to be a boy. Yet her father doesn't care about her whilst he treats her youthful brother like a prince. Then there are brothers named Bruce and Chris. Their mom ran away with a man when they had been solely kids, which grew to become their father into an alcoholic. The brothers solely had each other to depend on whilst developing up. Bruce became obsessed with video games to escape actuality whilst Chris worked hard in a grocery store to make money for the family. Lastly, Henry can find no records about Jack's family background. In the following scene, we see Jack working at a restaurant as a waiter. An MA better, Jian Yang, arrives at the restaurant with his commercial enterprise companions when Jian Yang isn't always looking. Jack steals his fancy lighter however is caught. Jian Yang's men beat him up as he assessments Jack's ID after discovering out that he is a student. Gives some cash and gives him a job as their meals delivery man someplace else. Henry visits Zuffa's domestic and finds him going for walks away from his father and his mates after stealing a ticket. He helps him at first, however after discovering out why he is being chased, he takes the father's side. Then he and Zuffa come to hang out at a bridge to motivate Zuffa into doing anything he wants. Henry sings with a band, performing in the streets. Seconds later, Zuffa joins him and sings in front of human beings for the first time since being bullied at school years ago. Meanwhile, Bruce and Chris's father comes domestic late like always and orders them to carry him a beer from the store. When the brothers refuse, he yells at them to get out of his house. The next day, Henry meets with their father and convinces him to go to rehab for his son's well-being. In the meantime, Denon's father brings her a bag of makeup products and asks her to act like a girl. For once, Did no longer is livid at him for usually making her sense like she is now not good enough. She applies the makeup on her younger brother and sneaks out of the residence with the car key. She is about to pressure away in her father's car, however is stopped by means of Henry at the right moment. He tells her that using without a license is illegal and suggests an alternative. Following that they go to a go-kart race track. Henry also invitations her father and makes them race. The father and daughter show no mercy to every other in the course of the race and eventually stop at backyard the track. Suddenly Need's go-kart is hit via a vehicle, however she manages to stay clear of it. Unaware of this, her father cries, mourning his daughter's death. Dylan realizes that he does in reality love her and hugs him. The next day at school, Bruce and Chris, along with a group, are sent to a rehabilitation center to interview an improving alcoholic. They're amazed to see that the character they have to interview is their father. The college students ask him how he started to drink. The man solutions that he loved his spouse dearly, but she left him at the lowest point of his life. Hence, he commenced to drink and forget that he had 2 kids to take care of. The man would not reveal that Bruce and Chris are his sons but apologizes to them. By the quit of it, the brothers are left crying someplace else. Jack has commenced to work for the MA hire Jian Yang. He presents Jack a lot of money to drug a fighter's drink in the subsequent game. Jack is reluctant however is compelled into accepting the offer. On the day of the fight, Jian Yang sponsors a fighter however bets money on his loss. Jack puts pills in the opponent's drink but is caught whilst doing so. Before he can blame Jian Yang he is crushed up and locked internal a locker. Whilst later, Henry arrives there and asks the warring parties if they have viewed a student. The man asked him to return home, however Jack from interior the locker yells for help. After finding out he is being trapped, Henry assaults them and overpowers them easily. When the opponents step in, it receives a bit intense, but Henry dodges their attacks efficiently. By the quit of it, he knocks out their fantastic fighter who is supposed to compete in a few minutes. In the following scene they are at a health center, the place Henry gets dealt with for his wounds. Jack tries to divulge the fact about Jian Yang, but is made to shut up. The information makes it to the TV and Henry begins being recognized as the man who beat up an expert fighter to store his student. His popularity in college grows and the college students start to respect him. They even get up to welcome him to the classification in distinction to how they have been earlier. A flashback shows us that Henry used to be a prankster when he was in school. He even threw water balloons at a pupil who used to be taking part in piano for the parents in an event. Later he fought the equal student and broke his hand. He used to be suspended for the fight, after which he had to fly to the States. Starting that day, the college students pay interest when Henry teaches in category and learn about difficult for the upcoming college entrance test. Everyone is doing remarkable barring Bruce, who has grown addicted to pills. It turns out that while Charlie grew to became to video games to keep away from his family's problem, Bruce commenced doing pills because he is unfocused. He does very badly in the mock entrance test. Very badly. In the mock entrance test, Henry promises to help him, but Bruce grows greater depressed with time. Eventually, he jumps off the balcony of his house. He is rushed to the health center and goes into a coma. The media twists the news and blames it on the school and Henry for what Bruce did. The officials from the education board interview Henry and decide to revoke his teaching license. When he packs his matters and leaves the school, the students chase him, asking him to stay. They are heartbroken via his absence. That they know that they should ace their upcoming test to make him proud. From that day on, they find out about twice as hard to show to the board that Henry is an accurate teacher. On the day of the test, Jack, along with all of his classmates, get a text from Henry asking them to meet in the faculty an hour before the exam. When the college students gather, they find out that it was Johnny's trick to hold them restrained in the college so they won't make it to the examination corridor on time. He is doing this to educate Henry a lesson. A while later, Henry arrives at school and finds out about Johnny's plan. He lets the students free and fights all of Jianyang's humans to give up them from harming the children. They break out and quickly make their way to the examination hall whilst Henry fights Jianyang while they are warfare one-on-one. Jianyang reveals that he was once the man who Henry had thrown water balloons at when he used to be little. It turns out that ever considering Henry broke his arm, he wasn't in a position to compete in a huge song competition. Ever due to the fact that the incident, he hasn't touched a piano and blames Henry for ruining his dream. Henry